I didn't know if you also wanted to talk about Deathloop that's coming out in like 2 weeks, or Psychonauts that came out last week.
Did he play Psychonauts?
Probably not.
I like watching games, but I have like really bad like video game ADHD, so I just never finish a game. Like my one friend Sam, he's my local. He's like a video game like completionist, so it kind of works out because I just go over to his house, sit on his couch, and watch him play.
What have you watched him play lately?
Like Psychonauts.
Hey Joe Brown. Go fuck yourself, bud.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on episode 61 of Cup of Joe's. I'm your host, Joe Brown, joined by my best friend, Joe Perry. And Joe, how are you doing? I'm happy that you've made it back from the grocery store in one piece.
I've been all over the place, Joe Brown. You don't even know. I've been to the freezer section. Been to the deli area.
Mm-hmm.
A man doesn't know if he's really a man until he's ventured into the deli area by himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely. There are definitely moments if I go grocery shopping where it's like, you know, I don't know how my mom stood in this line so many times when I was a kid with her little ticket waiting to get, you know, turkey or salami or whatever. It seems like such a waste of time.
If I can recall a moment, I did call you.
You did.
On my grocery store escapade, and you told me that you couldn't handle the grocery store.
Listen, we're not going to get into this because we have more important matters. Okay, Joe? That's because
I know we have more important matters, but I feel like this one might drop a little bit.
No. We're moving on to save my reputation on the internet because we have a special guest this week on Cup of Joe's, and that is our good friend Rahul Reddy, Pokemon player, TCG, Unite, everything, Twitch streamer extraordinaire. Rahul, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm vibing. How are you boys?
We're good.
See, I just like to point out to listeners, he's a youth. He uses the word vibing a lot.
He probably picked it up on TikTok.
Yeah, I learned that recently. It's my word of the day.
Rahul, didn't you have a TikTok that had 1 million views or something? Yeah,
I was really stupid. I don't know how. It just kind of happened.
Oh, wait, hold on. Rahul, what is your TikTok so I can look this up right now?
It's just the same username is here with a 1 at the end. The Flea 1. THEFL, 4 E's and then a 1.
Okay, so let's start there, Rahul. Everyone follow Rahul the Flea with 4 E's. The Flea 1.
It's a little bit awkward.
Okay, what is the Flea, and also why does it have 4 E's? I've wondered for literally years now at this point, and I've never asked.
This is an easy starting question. All right, so you know how when, like, I guess my youth and your youth are quite different. But when I was younger,
years apart to be exact, 5 years apart.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I think like the first like social media / like online game or whatever. Like I used to watch these CW cartoons early in the morning. I'd wake up for those. Like that was like
God.
Yeah, like 6 a.m. That's when I'd be ready for my weekends.
What is it called? The Luchador Moose Show.
Yep, there we are. Mucha Lucha. That's the show that I used to watch. Yeah. So I remember I had to make like a username for I think it was like either Neopets or like RuneScape or something like that, like way back in the day, or like one of those like CW like TV show browser games that was just like never like that died after like 3 months. But I went to go do that and I couldn't think of anything, and I was watching the TV show at the time, so I just kind of like took the Flea, and obviously one with 1, 2, and 3 E's were all taken. So here we are. And I just kind of like kept it, I guess, since at this point, it would just feel wrong to change it.
I get it now. Now it makes more sense. I always just wondered, like, well, it's an aggressive amount of E's. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. I definitely went a little bit overboard on the E's, but you know, it just had to be done.
It had to be done for Neopet's sake. You know, it had to be done. Neopets is
even
still
know-
around, actually. By the way, if you guys didn't
Yeah, I
know.
think my pets are starving probably at this point.
Yeah, it's actually. I wouldn't say it's like thriving. If I don't know what their metrics are, but it still is actually around his website, which is pretty
There's
cool.
people that play, but it's probably not thriving as you would say.
Okay, so we brought Raul to talk about his expertise in all things Pokemon, as well as we're gonna have a little discussion about the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer that released like I want to say a week and a half ago, whatever at this point. But Joe and I are big Marvel fans, we're big Spider-Man fans as well. So Raul, do you watch the Marvel movies? Do you get into them? Like, what's your history with them?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched them. I typically haven't been like a super fan or anything, just because there's a lot of them, and I just like never, I guess, like started when I was young to kind of like get into them. But I mean, I enjoy them for what they are. Like they're cinematically very good a lot of the time, and the universe is like very vast. So if I ever get into a talk with someone who's like super into it, it's very intriguing to me how much they can talk about it. So I prefer to just like learn from others as opposed to like dive in on my own. Um, yeah, it's just good. I'm excited for the trailer was really good. I've watched all the old Spider-Mans for sure. So it should be a lot of fun to watch it in general. Yeah, just gonna be good. Good movie.
All right. Well, since Raul couldn't care less, let's start with Joe. No, I'm just kidding. I was literally waiting like 30 seconds to say. I really hoped you were like, oh no, it's right or whatever. I'd already decided that's what I was going to respond with. So
That's your quip was our
yeah, I had to say that. I had to get the joke out for my own sanity. But so we'll start with Joe Perry in here watching the No Way Home trailer. Like, what were your first initial thoughts?
My first initial thoughts were, where's Tobey Maguire? Where is he?
Where's Toby?
Where's Toby? Is he hiding? Is he behind something? Where is he at? And he didn't show up. So I was like, okay, maybe this isn't.
Okay.
But it was interesting because I have been very interested to know, because like, what is it? Mysterio blew up his whole spot, bro. Like, blew up his whole spot. So, Raul, have you seen the latest Spider-Man movie that is out?
Yeah.
Far
I
From
watched
Home?
the last two. Yeah,
Wait, what? Joe Brown decided to talk when you were talking.
I have watched the last two. Yeah.
Okay, so you are aware that everybody now knows that Senior Spider-Man is also Senior Peter Parker.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Joe Brown, stop answering for him.
What?
Trying to knock it off.
I am perplexed. I literally didn't even say anything.
Joe Brown, shh, we know you're doing. Anyway, so like that happened, and I've been like dying to know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, it was
like,
a bonkers cliffhanger.
Yeah. I also was super pumped at the fact that I did a thing and I looked up the what is it called? I looked up the people who are going to be in the movie.
Like on IMDb or?
Yeah, I am on IMDb. And not only is the original dude who played Doc Ock gonna be in it, but our boy Willem is coming back, and I'm even more excited about that.
I could never see Willem Dafoe again because of the meme of him in Spider-Man of Willem Dafoe, and he's like angry, and then he's smiling, and it says Willem Defriend. Every time I see him now, I think Willem Defriend. But I mean, we saw in the trailer, Joe, like Doc Ock was there. He says hi to Peter, and then I think we heard the cackle from Green Goblin too at one point. Yep. Right?
When you hear the cackle, you don't see who it is.
Yeah, but you see the little pumpkin bomb that Green Goblin used.
I think they confirmed. I think they like based on what they like leaked. It was like 5 things, or like 5 of the villains were confirmed to come back.
Yeah. So.
But like I said, it doesn't mean that the same actor is going to be playing it. Like the villain is going to be in it, but it could have been Harry, but Harry's the Hobgoblin,
right?
But it could have been a different actor, is what I was saying. Like Willem could have not been in this one, but he is, and that's all right.
That's all.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
all right.
Well, I think it makes the most sense to have the original actors back since it's like a multiverse thing. You're bringing that universe's version, and yeah, sure, Alfred Molina is going to be 20 years older as Doc Ock, but like he's still Doc Ock.
Wait, hold on a minute. let's just he's going to be Doc Ock, but let's just look at this. What's his name again? How do you say that man's name?
Alfred Molina, Molina. What are we looking at, Joe? This is the audio. This is the audio podcast. What are we looking at?
Okay, well, just give me a second, bro. Can you give me a minute? A minute to get it going?
Yeah, let's just hang out for a minute.
This is an audio podcast that you edit together. This is so everybody knows what Doc Ock looks like in the original Spider-Man. This is what he looks like in the original Spider-Man. That's what he looks.
Everybody watching along in this audio podcast right now, it sees.
If you want to know what I'm talking about, look him up and see what he looks like. Just get a good glimpse of what he looks like. He looks pretty good. But like, can we talk about what he looks like now? Like, hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello,
distinguished gentleman.
Look at this metaled arm, distinguished gentleman coming down the street to say hello. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Yes, okay. Thank you.
Can we move on from hello, sirring Alfred Molina and continue the discussion, or do you need get one more in, Joe? Get one more in.
Hello, sir. There you go.
Okay. Good. So anyway, the point of the movie is the multiverses are combining or whatever because Peter tried to do something really stupid, which was to make the world forget that he is Peter Parker because it's putting his family and.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there. Peter didn't try to do it. Peter just asked to do it. Doctor Strange said, "Sure."
Okay, they did save the world together, so he did.
I do love Strange. Strange is a very funny character.
I loved Doctor Strange. The way he winked, I was like, "No, of course I won't do it." He just like winks afterwards.
Okay, but wait, have we heard the theories?
What's the theories
of Doctor Strange?
What, that he did it on? He's trying to destroy the universe on purpose or something? What's the theory?
The theory is that's not really Doctor Strange. That's what's his name?
Yeah, I can't remember.
The Manifesto, is that his name?
I knew it was an M. Let's call him Manifesto, Mephisto, whatever he is. I forget his name.
Mephisto.
Okay, so I'm happy you brought that up because after Civil War the comic, there was a storyline that was a very controversial story that
everybody hated
the Spider-Man writers did, where Aunt May died, and then everyone knew Peter was Spider-Man because of the acts of Civil War, where when he was on, Tony's side, he revealed himself as Spider-Man. So he went to that guy and tried to get a spell for the whole world to forget he was Spider-Man and to bring Aunt May back to life or whatever, right? So I don't know the whole storyline, so I'm not going to go through all the stuff that happened because I'm sure it would not explain it well. But what I remember and something that a lot of people had issues with at the time was one of the stipulations or one of the the trade-offs that he had to do was he had to forfeit his love with Mary Jane or something. Do you remember that, Joe? Do you remember that story?
Yeah.
So he essentially had to give up the life and the love that he had with Mary Jane in order to bring Aunt May back and for the world to forget that he was Spider-Man. So I wonder if in this movie, do you think, because they have not followed the comics for a lot of stuff like Civil War and Endgame specifically and stuff. So I wonder, are they going to do that here with Zendaya, with MJ? Are they going to have to sacrifice their relationship to save the world again? Or like, do you think Marvel's like, whoa, it didn't work out so well last time, and I think people would be upset if we did that? Because I think that would be cool if they did that again.
What? But people didn't like that. That's the thing.
Right, but
Isn't
it's
that the whole point?
But it was like a powerful sacrifice that the two characters had to make in order to be bigger than themselves. You know what I mean? So like,
but this is the thing. In that instance, what is it? Aunt May is dead. In this instance, she isn't. So
yet,
you're right.
We only saw a trailer.
Yeah, you're right. But I think that it would be even better if after dealing with the multiverse, Peter, and hopefully meeting himself and talking about and like having the realization with stuff, that Peter decides to not care if people know who he is and to continue living his own life. I don't know. That's my opinion, and you could tell me I'm wrong. I don't really care.
I wouldn't say you're wrong. I mean, it's your opinion. I think logistically it'd be pretty difficult for them to work around, unless he does become the next Tony Stark and he is out there saying, he's Spider-Man and stuff, like how Iron Man was. But I don't know. Raul, what do you think is going to happen in this movie?
I don't know. I'm just hoping for all the Spider-Men to be there and some funny shit to happen.
Are we gonna get the dance scene?
You really? No.
From Spider-Man 3, where they're dancing?
No.
What?
Do you think that Andrew Garfield will be there? Is he?
I want him
confirmed?
to. I liked Andrew Garfield.
I liked him as Spider-Man. I was sad when they did not make a third one. He was a good Spooderman, as I also like to call him.
He does like to say Spooderman. I'll let you know up front, Raul. It's one of his character traits.
Do not know why it's a problem. Mr. Brown. Anyway, I do think that he was one of the better Spider-Mans. But I do like Mr. Tom Holland, but Toby will always have a special place in my heart for it. But
I think they
have
cool to be there.
They don't have to be there.
But why would you bring back Spider-Man 2's Doc Ock and not have Tobey Maguire there? It just wouldn't make sense if you're colliding the multiverse. We saw Into the Spider-Verse, right? There were multiple Spider-Men in that one together. It makes too much sense to not have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield there.
It's true. You're not wrong. It would. I would love to have them there. I would also love to have other Spoodermans in there as well. That'd be pretty cool to not only have them, but also have what is it, Spider-Gwen and Miles. Maybe Miles Morales will show up. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be dope.
It would
Spider-Man.
be cool, but...
Tom Holland Spider-Man is too young to have Miles Morales show up.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to bring up. Thank you for leading that transition that you didn't know was going to be a transition. So,
welcome.
Spider-Man's Tom Holland is still a sophomore in high school, and he's been Spider-Man for 6 years now in real life. So this Peter Parker, the character, has really not progressed at all. He hasn't been to college yet. He's not working in so as an intern at some science company thing, and learning secrets and getting new web materials and stuff. It's all coming from the Avengers and stuff. So I get frustrated that Tom Holland, everyone complained, it's oh, we had Peter Parker with Tobey, who's in high school, and then he grew, and then we just rebooted with Andrew Garfield, and he's in high school, and then now Tom Holland comes back, and he's back in high school, when he was only in high school for 4 of the last 70 years of the comic books, or whatever, he's been a full-fledged adult for the majority of Spider-Man's run as a character. So, I get frustrated that he's literally still in high school after all of these things, and I just wonder when this story is going to be able to move forward and actually have Peter's character progress more.
Well, what do you want?
I want him to be in college. I want him to have different experiences. I want him, you know, to have like, you know, I don't know, different things going on. I want him to. This is a conversation Joe and I have had many times before. What I'm about to say, Rahul, is like with the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, which was a tactical decision from Marvel to have him related to the rest of the MCU. They're like movies that are happening in the MCU that have Spider-Man instead of Spider-Man movies that take place in the MCU. Like the whole Far From Home, like you had Nick Cage, and Mysterio wasn't even a villain of Spider-Man. He was a villain of Tony Stark, who was an upset ex-employee or whatever. Like then Spider-Man's in the Endgame and Civil War, Endgame, and then Infinity War. Also, like this character is just an MCU character, and the Spider-Man that I appreciate and love and know the most is like the Spider-Man, like the kid from Queens, like protecting New York City Spider-Man, not the one that's involved in the multiverse of everybody and everybody's storylines connecting together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, because Gibran, you know a lot about Spider-Man. Correct.
Yeah.
So, do you know about Mysterio? Like, let's talk about Mysterio for just like a brief moment. We'll talk about the movies you just kind of like mentioned about how they're in the MCU. They're MCU universe movies, but they're not like Spider-Man movies that are in the MCU.
Correct.
Like yeah. So, do you know how the origins of Mysterio at all? Like in the comics, not in the movie.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly. It's something like he was like a special effects artist or something, which I guess would be similar to what he does in Marvel, and he uses those special effects to commit crime and make people think it was other people that did it. So I can't remember it exactly, but it's something
you're pretty spot on with that. He's an illusionist and an actor and a special effects artist that uses his talents to commit crime. Good job, Joe Brown. A+ for your Spider-Man knowledge.
Thank you.
But like at the same time, like when you look at what his like whole deal is, it does not involve Iron Man whatsoever.
Right.
Anywhere. Ever. Like nowhere does it involve Iron Man. Like in any of the backstory that he has. So I'm just like really confused why they did that. He has a little bit of a backstory with Daredevil, it looks like, which is interesting. Didn't know that. But like nothing with Iron. So and now that you say that, because I didn't really pick up on it, now that you say that, it is a little upsetting that they had to tie it into Tony Stark. I get in this whole universe that Spider-Man and Tony Stark are like buddies, and they were like one after like, what is it? Tony was thinking about handing off his like legacy, and I think he was going to give it to Tom Holland Spider-Man. That I feel like that's where we were leaning in near the end of these like movies. But like, well, like I don't get it. Like, why do we have to make Mysterio all about Iron Man? Why can't it be Mysterio finds out that Tom Holland Spider-Man has this like crazy thing and he needs to steal it? Like, oh.
Yeah, I'm just looking for a more grounded Spider-Man experience. And it's been a complaint I've had for years at this point. Like, it would have been so cool. Like, you know, we all freaked out at the end of the second movie when they find out, you know, J. Jonah Jameson's like, it's Peter Parker. Like, it would have been so cool if this Tom Holland's Peter, I should say, finally had to solve something for himself. You know what I mean? Like, he was gone.
Like,
he was by himself, had to fix it.
I think the general idea is like this Tom Holland is like this version of Spider-Man with Tom Holland is just like he's a kid. He's always going to be the kid, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
But like you're never going to have a story like the rate that it's going, like he can't have like an internship or something that he's got to try to balance, like getting the coffee at 8 a.m. but also being like the local crime fighter the previous night, because there's no local crime. He's going to be saving the galaxy during the day or during the night, and then picking up coffee like during the day at his internship. You know what I mean? Like there's no grounded like aspect to Spider-Man at all, like, or local, I should say.
You know what I was thinking about recently? Like this whole thing, like it's going off of what you were talking about, Joe Brown, I promise. But like the whole thing about him being a kid and stuff. Like this 15 to 16-year-old kid went to an alien planet and died there.
Yeah, classic. The snappers even.
Let's just talk about this. Aunt May was on Earth. This motherfucker was galaxies away and got dusted on a planet. Like, what? How insane is that? Like, Tony Stark is a middle-aged man with incredible knowledge and a super suit. Spider-Man is a 15-year-old boy who hasn't even touched a girl's hand, and he's in space and he's gonna get dusted on like the Titan planet. Get me out of here. What?
Well, he has touched Zendaya's hand now at this point. We've seen it.
Well, yeah, I think that is also a great part of the last movie is when he's web slinging with Mary Jane and she goes, she's just freaking out the whole time.
You know what? I'm such a loser. This is the first, like, my first thoughts when I asked Joe his first thoughts seeing the trailer. The first thing I thought, legitimately, when the trailer started, when Peter Parker and MJ, sorry, it's not Mary Jane, MJ, are sitting on the rooftop and they're just sitting and hanging out. She's reading the newspaper or whatever. All I can think of is, oh my God, he's gonna get so sunburned. Just no shade at all on that rooftop. That was the first thing that came to my head.
What?
If you watch that scene, imagine if you sat on a ceiling for an hour with no protection, you would have gotten super sunburned, Joe.
True, you just make an excellent point.
Thank you.
Don't feed into it.
Thank you. This is why we brought you on, Rule, to agree with you.
This is why we only bring your friends onto the podcast to agree with you.
Wow, that's hurtful. It's not inaccurate,
wrong.
But it's still hurtful.
It's not wrong. What was it?
I was just letting you know how my brain works. That's all.
No, that's very funny because my first thought was, that's cool. you're just like, man, boy's gonna get a little burnt. Should have covered up. What are you, a dad? God, my boy's gonna get burnt.
He's gonna get mad. He's gonna get sunburnt.
Oh my God, I'm very excited for it, though. Jordan is also very excited for it, so we want to see it badly. I'm hoping, though, you know what would be cool? Like, I know this whole thing with like him being part of the MCU and all of this stuff, and like what you were saying, Joe. Mm-hmm. I am hoping that maybe after this movie, he. Like, my whole thing is I'm hoping that he learns, like, the other Spider-Men come in to the universe and he learns something from them and he becomes more independent. Because even in the last movie, like, Tony, it's kind of like Tony's died and he's kind of like carrying the legacy forward. But you don't, like, the whole thing is like, I'm going on vacation. I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm going vacation. Remember, Ned, I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation. I'm in Italy. I'm on vacation. Like, he didn't do anything. Like, I thought we were gonna see him like become the next like somewhat forward thinking like Iron Man character. I hoped for that. It didn't happen. It was still a great movie, but I hoped for it. And it kind of like disappointed me. So I'm hoping after this, like, maybe we find out like the whole Doctor Strange thing is not Doctor Strange, it's like someone else. And like maybe this is where he has to figure it out by himself. You know what I mean? Like, this is him having to deal with it. Because I want to see that happen.
It would be nice. That's all. That's all I'll say.
But yeah, going back to the it's not really Doctor Strange thing. The argument that people have is that Doctor Strange would never do that. He would never willingly change the universe's thing to just to help Peter out. Like, after becoming the, what is it? What's his like position? Like the Grand Wizard thing?
I forget. Something like that in that group, yeah.
like after becoming that thing, that like stature, he is like the one who, like they even say it in Endgame, is like Strange is the best of us. Like, so he would never just do something like this. So it makes it like fishy of why he would so willingly do it. Plus, I also think he's acting like super weird in the trailer. Also explains why because I'm assuming this is also all happening during Loki and Scarlet Witch,
Right.
which would explain, because the whole theory about what was going on with the splitting of the timelines. Oh, spoiler alert for the end of Loki, by the way. Have you all watched it or no?
No.
I'm familiar-ish with it, but
Are you going to watch it, Raoul?
Yeah.
Am I gonna
Eventually, probably.
yeah, don't ruin it for Raul.
Okay, I won't.
Eventually,
I won't.
probably.
There's a thing like there's a thing about like a timeline being split, and it's like a very big deal. And everybody thinks it's because of what Loki is doing, and then everybody thought it was what Scarlet Witch was doing at the end of her end of credit scene in her show. But then this happens, and everybody's saying that this is what's causing it. And Doctor Strange apparently would never let something like this happen.
Sure.
So that, and it also like says like Doctor Strange isn't there to help with Wanda's whole thing, because Wanda is also like causing such an issue with the reality that they have, because she's messing with an entire city or town. So why isn't Doctor Strange around to help? Where is he for not helping with that? And the same thing with like the whole thing with what goes on in Loki. Where is he to help with that? Because he deals with all of that. So like, where is this man? Where is he? Why is he not helping?
And he
that's
has
why
his movie right after Spider-Man. Doctor Strange is after Spider-Man.
Exactly, and also they changed the poster for that movie after Loki ended.
Oh, I did not know that.
I don't know if you've seen it, but it's the Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, and Loki all standing next to each other.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah. It is a very cool concept that they're throwing out right now, but it is very scary to see what they will do in the sense, because I don't know what's gonna happen. It's iffy. Like, they could mess this up.
Well,
or they could just do a good job.
You only have to wait about 3 months or whatever to see it. 3.5, I guess. It's like December 17th or something like that. Right before Christmas is when it's coming out. So we'll get there eventually, and we're very excited for that. But we're done talking about Spider-Man, which anyone who listens to the show knows that's probably our second most common topic that we talk about on this podcast is Spider-Man. But the number one topic that we usually discuss is Pokemon, for obvious reasons. And that's what we brought Raul on today here to discuss Pokemon, both, his history with the trading card game and Pokemon in general, but more specifically about Pokemon Unite, because we haven't had a chance to talk about Pokemon Unite on the podcast at all yet. So we thought it would make sense to bring Raul on, who is currently in Masters, one of the master Pokemon Unite players. And your alt account, your free-to-play account, is also almost in Masters, right?
Yeah, it's like, I've been like veteran now, but I'm like, that account's like mostly just to play with people who don't, I guess, take the game as seriously. Just so I don't, can play with them, I guess.
All right, so let's get your thoughts on Pokemon Unite, because I know you played League and you play Pokemon TCG, and you're a very competitive player. Like, you play games at a high competitive level, and there's some competitive aspects to Unite. So let's get your opinions on the game.
Yeah, so I think the game is like overall good for what it is. It's very quick, fast paced. There's a lot of players that are picking it up just because Pokemon is a very common household franchise at this point. And so people are playing. Obviously, there's some things that are, like Zapdos, and some of these like mechanics are a little bit overtuned. But I think we're still in the early phases, so things are kind of getting fixed. There's like I guess every 3 weeks there's been a patch more or less that's been like pretty big. So we've had like 2 major patches so far, and it's been like nice to see them like actually fixing things and doing stuff. And the game is feeling more and more balanced as it goes. It doesn't feel like anything's super OP. They're releasing new characters, new Pokemon, like as time goes, like very quickly. So I think these first couple of weeks have been very receptive towards the community, and it's very nice seeing like a lot of my friends list obviously is like Pokemon people due to my involvement in the game typically. So it's like very nice to see people in general just I guess like pick it up and play, because it's not like most people don't really like MOBAs because of how long they are, how many like intricate aspects. Like for example, League is like there's a lot of small things you got to just learn before you can get in. So the learning curve is like super high. But once you're in, and then it's like another like ceiling you have to climb. But people don't like it because of the initial like jump. But Unite feels a lot easier to jump in, a lot fewer aspects that are, I guess, like really hard to understand. So overall, a cool game. I'm enjoying it. I played a lot less since like the initial week of release. I like kind of no-lifed it. Probably played like 40 hours in the opening week.
Yeah, you played a lot.
Yeah, I played a bunch. I got to master like super quickly. And then I kind of like petered off because my 5-stack has kind of stopped playing as much. The season resets every 2 months. So the season resets in like 15, 16 days now, which is like not that bad. Which then would incentivize people to try again. I would climb more in Masters, but the biggest problem they had on release was there was like kind of an ELO MMR bug, I guess, where winning a game in Masters would give you like +2, +3, and then losing you'd lose like 20. Like
oh,
points.
wow.
So there was like no real reason to play, and I just did anyway because I enjoyed playing the game. But it was like objectively a mistake to do so. And then now it's like I am happy with the game and I'm enjoying myself, so it's like I don't see a reason not to keep playing in the future.
Okay. Well, I hate to be the harbinger of bad news, but I haven't played in like a week and a half because I've just been like so frustrated. Like, so I was super hyped for Pokemon Unite ever since last year when they first showed it off, because I play a lot of League, right? So I'm familiar with that type of gameplay, and Pokemon and League together really excited me. And I played a lot of it at launch, not as much as you, obviously, but it just seems like it's almost there. You know what I mean? It's just like some things that are so frustrating that like. Not even just Zapdos, because everyone wants to say Zapdos is the main issue, where I think it's partially true. There are definitely ways that they can nerf Zapdos a little bit, or nerf the late game comebacks a little bit, but like I don't think that's the core issue with it. Like, so when you play, to me, we can get a little back and forth. Like the biggest issue for me with Unite right now, why I've stopped playing for the most part, is the experience you have as a single player playing Pokemon Unite in comparison to the experience you have as a 5-stack of friends playing Pokemon Unite. It's not even like comparable. It's not even the same video game, and that's what's frustrating about it. Like, because I've had this conversation with other friends, like, oh yeah, well, League, like solo queue sucks in League too. It's like, yeah, but there are millions of people that exclusively play solo queue. They don't play ranked flex with friends or whatever. So, like, yeah, people are toxic in League, but like, you can absolutely play League by yourself. Where it feels like when I play Unite and I'm playing by myself, like I am genuinely at a significant disadvantage from the other team, and that's what's really frustrating.
There definitely could be like something like a solo queue, like an individualized queue for like solo duo, and I think that would definitely like fix that problem. Because I also perceived that solos or like 1, 2, 3 stacks could never hit 5s, but I quickly realized that was not the case.
Right.
Like after playing a little bit, you kind of like pick up on the fact that, well, I'm actually hitting stacks, and at that point you're like, we're just gonna lose if we're not playing as 5, which is definitely like a little bit frustrating for sure. But I definitely think there is like a way you can kind of, I don't know. I think, no, yeah, it is night and day playing solo, because I played a lot of solo as well. Like early, I played when I queued, I soloed until probably like high veteran, like early ultra, and then like the last like 5 ranks, like felt super easy because I like got a 5 stack that was all near me, and then at that point like it just felt like we weren't losing. Like I think I went on like an 8 game win streak to close out my like climb to master, and that was like all on a 5 stack.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just like all right. I'll let you on this hot take roll. Okay. I have a sneaking suspicion because everyone wants to say, "Oh, it's just 6-year-olds are all stupid who never played and they're using their dad's Switch or whatever, and they just playing Pokemon. They don't know any better." Well, you logged in for ranked and not normal, so the child who can't read chose ranked instead of normal, which you have to like go to the other option to do. So I don't believe that. And 2, I have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of the awful teammates I have are in fact not 6-year-olds, and in fact are just people who are really bad at video games.
Yeah, I've been watching a couple of streamers, some who are even up to like Ultra Master, and when they solo, their mindset is like, because of how fast the game is, you kind of can't afford to play like super greedy. In a game like League, even if like your teammate plays a little bit greedy, or like does something crazy, like you can kind of make up for it with individual skill. But in this game, it feels like nigh impossible just because of the nature of how quick the game is. Which I think is fine. I do like the quick games. Like the quick games make it so. I mean, I'm in and out very quickly. I can get like 4 games during lunch break. I don't mind it. It just is much more punishing due to the nature of the quick games.
Yeah, I think it's a great point too that you bring up with the time difference, and like it is super punishing. Like we've all had our junglers like steal our camps, buy and then go do the jungle like afterwards, or somebody calls jungle and then they just stay in lane, and then now we're behind on experience, and then someone else has to go join the jungle, and like so because the game is so short, those mistakes and those issues that communication errors are so much more costly than, like you said, like in League, where if you make a mistake and die in lane in League, like you still have the rest of the game to make up for it. But it's like if your jungler steals your camps and then AFK is halfway through the jungle, like the game is literally over 45 seconds into it, and then you're just sitting there for 9 more minutes until the round is, because that's how important each mistake is, or impactful, I should say, each impactful each mistake is to it. Like
the game is also like super new, so I feel like with a game like League or Dota or like any other MOBA, the kind of objectives or the path to how to play from behind has been kind of fleshed out across the board. But with a game like this, it hasn't necessarily been like entirely fleshed out, like playing from behind, or like what is the course of action to take if we like lose first Dreadnought or something like that has not been entirely figured out yet. And I think that's something that'll just get like better as more people play the game, and like as like as more and more people play, obviously like it'll be with more information. It's like still very new, right? Like you have no idea how to like really like even early, like I think we like day 2 or 3 we realized or myself realized very quickly that like Rotom doesn't mean anything in early game.
It literally means nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the first like week, almost like exclusively until like that first big tournament that happened towards the end of the first week, people were still like actively going over Dreadnought. Like people were actively going, or not Dreadnought, but like Rotom, and like the players who are like quickly realizing these new techs, these new things were getting better. And so I think if the patches continue to be as like as influential as they have been, as well as just the simple like people learning the game, it'll get better, I think, across like solo queue. But that being said, we'll see what happens in the ranked reset.
I think a lot of people, like the meme of like the who the writers want you to think is the villain, and then like the real villain. It's like they want you to think Zapdos is the villain, but like Dreadnought is actually the toxic mechanic that is in this game.
I mean, I do think Dreadnought's super broken early. Like the first team to get the first Dreadnought means the other team literally cannot like show up on the map for like the next couple minutes.
Right.
It feels like a Baron buff at like minute 3 in the game, which is ridiculous. Because
and then you're more likely to get the next Dreadnought too, because you got the experience from the first one.
Yeah, you have to now like figure out a way to kind of like claw yourself back into the game and like find these like avenues for experience and stuff like that. And it's just like it just starts getting more and more difficult, and it feels like there's a little bit of early snowball aspect that needs to be answered that is just currently not being answered.
And so, who are have you tried the new DLC characters? Like, they're free, obviously, but like we've had Blastoise literally just came out. You had Blissey and then Gardevoir too. So, like, have you tried out any of the new characters?
Yeah. I have not unlocked everybody because I've not put that much money into the game. I put like $40 in, and I've just kind of been riding that $40. Blissey's cool. I like Blissey. Definitely a more supporting style character. Strays from the damage. Gardevoir's cool as well. I think numbers need to be tweaked a little bit to make her better, but I think right now she's like Karthus basically.
Mm-hmm.
So you scale really hard into late game, but early game you're complete doo doo. For like the first like 6 minutes of the game, which is not good when the game is
10 minutes. Yeah.
10 minutes. And Stoice I've not played yet, but that's because today's lunch break was busy with work, so I didn't actually have a chance to hop on for lunch.
Yeah, believe me, I know the issue of choosing characters who don't come on until 7 minutes in the tank because I feel like most of my games are on Garchomp and Lucario, and so like, you need to, especially Garchomp. It's crazy that like Garchomp evolves at like level 10. Like there's no uniformity to things. You know what I mean? Like they're like what the Cinderace line I think is like what five is 5 and 7.
7.
Yeah.
Granja.
Right, and then, but Venusaur evolves at 9 instead of 10, but then Garchomp evolves at 10, even though they're both a 3-line evolution. Like, it's just, that's kind of, like, weird to me, how they made those decisions.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the numbers need to be tweaked a little bit, of course, and that'll be going on with time. And the mobile release is, like, coming up soon, too, so that'll probably definitely impact the servers, because that'll increase a Eastern audience that is probably much better at video games than the people who are currently playing.
So, who have you been, maining on your free to play and your main account? Like, what's your go to roles and characters to use to climb?
I've been jungle like almost exclusively, and I have been climbing with Zeraora pretty much on both accounts. And then past Zeraora, I've been Cinderace and Greninja, just kind of getting that DPS where I need to be. Especially in solo queue, you want to have an influential role, especially around objectives. That doesn't mean to say like playing something like Snorlax or like Wigglytuff doesn't mean you don't have the same impact. It's just tougher. You have to make more hero plays on those characters. But as a damage dealer, you can kind of just like you can, if you need to, just based on your positioning, try to 1v5. And it could work out. It's like the same as like League or any other MOBA. It's just you have to kind of hope and pray sometimes. And so I like to take the roles that give me the most agency in the game.
And you talked about I think that was that Victory Road tournament, right? Right when the game launched. So you played in that. There were like 250 teams or something that played in that. It was a big deal. So what was that experience like? Like, how'd your team play? How was the character synergy and things like that? Like, what did you think of like a first big competitive tournament in Pokemon Unite?
I thought it was really cool because we got all like disclaimer, we got like absolutely smacked early. We lost we got a bye round one, lost immediately round 2. Which kind of sucked. But it like for me and like one of my other friends who was on the team, Nico, all of us, we were both like we played League quite frequently. We had been like, we came from other MOBAs. So we kind of just picked like what we perceived as like the 5 best characters at the time. No real synergies. We weren't working like we were just winning as 5 individually talented players in solo queue as opposed to like a 5-man unit. And we lost to a team that ended up finishing top 16, which is, a little bit of a unfortunate draw off the bat. But it doesn't matter who you face when you face them, as if you want to win the event, right? It doesn't matter. So these guys like picked some Pokemon at the time that were a little more uncommon. Like we didn't think Lucario was very good, and we didn't think we thought Gengar was broken comparatively to everything else. But it was like kind of a wake up call to see like how quickly teams would like rotate, pivot to Dreadnought, like how quickly teams would like go places, like just play the map differently than solo queue players would. So I think it's also like a night and day kind of thing. Like you said, playing 5 versus playing 1. And then when you like, I watched the VODs of the players who got like top 4 and like the finals match, and it was a lot of like nobody overextended in those games. Like it was like very much like watching like Korean League of Legends, where it's like a 10-kill game at the end of the day.
Right.
Like it's like one big fight will determine the entire game type of deal. And like nobody moved. It was just like a game of chicken. And like at the very end, both teams like tried to sneak a dunk, and then everyone just played like around Zapdos to make sure the other team didn't get it. And whoever was behind was trying to like sneak the dunks. Whoever was ahead was trying to like mitigate that. It was just like a very meticulous game, which I don't think you see in solo queue ever.
Yeah, I think I remember JJ Kun tweeting about like the scores in like top 8 and top 4 and stuff, and like, you know, like a regular game you could win like 600 to 450 or something, but some of those competitive games were like 127 to 75 was like the final score and stuff. Like there's just weren't
the final scores were like all like below 300 points, which is like crazy to me because like it feels like one Zapdos is 300 points, but if you just like I guess peel off Zapdos correctly and like don't ever let the other team go for it, like save your ults, like things that are like common sense in other video games, but just like we have not translated that like logic into this well yet.
Now, what are some of the best, I guess, held items versus regular items, whatever? Not the ones like everyone just uses the eject button because it's flash. That's the best one to use.
Well, actually, that's a little bit of a misnomer now because they
Really?
nerfed the eject button. They nerfed it by 15 seconds, so it's actually like very significant. It's now on a 70-second cooldown, which makes a
Oh, that's brutal.
big difference in a 10-minute game.
Okay, so
And they,
tell
like,
me the best items, both held items and active items.
So held, obviously, there's like a couple things like muscle bands, scope lens are always good on your damage dealers, and then your supports or like have like assault vest, that kind of stuff. Buddy Bear has been surprisingly good in like 5-man scenarios, because Buddy Bear just gives a gigantic shield. For those of you who don't know, and that giant shield like effectively just like goes a really long way, in like team fights. Like if your ult is like not great, like if you're something like Snorlax or like Jigglypuff or Wigglytuff or something, like just using your ult to give your AD carry or like your damage dealer a shield can really just swing a fight entirely. And then there's Score Shield, which is what I like, especially in solo queue, which gives you a small shield. And so they have to break the shield before they can stop you from scoring. So if you're playing a Pokemon that has a higher or faster scoring animation, you can just try to sneak stuff towards the end and like be a hero for your team.
Yeah, Score Shield is so strong. It's so frustrating to play against also.
Yeah, absolutely. And then active items, I think Fluffy Tail has like more merit now because Fluffy Tail's buff was like, rather than doing a static 1.8 damage modifier per attack, it's like a random modifier between like 2.3 and 4.8.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is like very significant for something like Dreadnought or Zapdos.
And every jungler takes Fluffy Tail, right?
Not everyone, but I do. I like to take it.
Because it's kind of like this game's pseudo smite-ish.
Yeah. Or like if you're playing like something like a tank, it's fine to take it too. Because as a tank, you don't really need eject button. Because you shouldn't really be like the one who's getting out.
Right.
So like I wouldn't like be surprised if like a Snorlax or like a Blastoise take it either.
I did early on. I had before I had a eject button unlocked, I had the X attack item. Like I was playing Lucario and I got like a quadra kill on Lucario because like you just punch X attack, like you just start railing on people. So I think I guess that I'm happy to hear that then that you said that they have been changing the items around, so it's not just 10 people with a eject button and stuff.
Yeah, they've been tweaking the numbers like well enough that I think like every major patch is going to be significant in some way, and that's going to change also like as people continue learning the game.
So who is one Pokemon? Like we've gotten Blissey, Gardevoir, and Blastoise, and those are I think those are the ones we knew were coming before the game was out.
Yeah.
So now we're in the dark. Who is one Pokemon that you want them to add to Pokemon Unite, and what role would it be?
Probably Scizor, because Scizor is like one of my favorite Pokemon. I would say Umbreon also, but that's just like a biased one because Umbreon's like a good boy. And if it was Umbreon, it'd probably be like a speedster role. And if it was Scizor, it would probably be like an all-rounder, like a bruiser, melee,
Right?
like your like Garchomp role. Just because he doesn't really attack from range or anything, and it would make a lot of sense for him to just like get in there. Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, and then the last thing on Unite. So I'm sure Raul, you have this on the TCG end the same way we do with VGC, where we always talk about you know, the like when Pokemon came out, Pokemon Go, Pokemon Masters, and now Unite, like we always talk about the future viability of that Pokemon scene, right? So I'm sure you've had conversations with friends about Pokemon Unite's competitive viability in future. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on, obviously it's not going to be League of Legends or something, but like, do you think we'll see this at a Worlds? Like, will there be a competitive scene? Is it, you know, what do you think about Pokemon Unite? Like, does it have the legs? Is it gonna last?
Absolutely. I think that the quick pace nature of the game makes like for really good best of threes, best of fives, even like it makes for a very easy bracket style tournament, like single, double elim all the way through. But it's like it's effectively the same time frame as something like Smash. So it's like very easy to kind of play through. The problem with I think like making it a realistic esport is obviously like with everything. How much and like Pokemon is very protective of their brand, obviously. So it's like how much leeway do they want to give? Because like it's I'm sure there's like a lot of TCG, VGC casters, even Pokemon casters who probably want to toss their hat into the ring, to even try. I mean, like heck, I would love to if I had the opportunity, because this game seems like very fun to cast. It's very quick paced. There's not that much downtime compared to like League or Dota. So it's like I think competitively like very good. It'd be very fun to watch. And they were testing the spectator mode, and I actually tried it a little bit. It's very cool. I liked it. There's no free cam, unfortunately, but just doing player
really?
cams is fine. Yeah, it's like it was like 5 player cams.
Okay.
Which is fine for now, which I'm sure they'll be testing other stuff. But I definitely think that the fact that they're working on something like that indicates that they have some sort of a direction they want to take this in, that is like competitive in nature.
Yeah, because I'd love, like, you know, fingers crossed if we have Worlds next year,
Yeah.
which who knows what's going to happen at this
I
point.
hope so, please.
I would, like, when I talk with my VGC friends, like, I would hope that we get some type of showcase or tournament or something on the mainstream at Worlds, the way that we had Pokemon Go back in DC in 2019, if you remember that one on the main stage.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love if we get something like that for Unite.
I think that's like very reasonable. I think like if we do have like Worlds, I think there'll definitely be like a Unite showcase. It'll just be interesting to see who they invite. Because I guess like I know like week 1, week 2 there was a MOBA pros playing the game, but I don't like necessarily invite. So because what Pokken, like all those people came over from like Street Fighter and stuff like that. So
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, thank you very much, Earl, for our Pokemon Unite conversation. You've kind of restored some of my faith in the game, and I guess I have to. I bought the season pass, so I should probably actually play a little bit more and try to complete it. I think I'm like
I'm also like a
62
you're
or
not that
something.
far. I'm like 80, so you're not that far behind me.
Okay, so I gotta complete that, get my money's worth. But we're gonna move on to just like
Like
general,
$2.
yeah, general Pokemon and Rahul Reddy conversation, so we can bring Joe back in here finally. Joe, it's been a while. I've missed you a lot in this
I'm here
discussion.
I'm
So
here.
let's talk to Rahul. Let's get to know him better. Let's have everyone understand the man a little bit better. So, like, you know, what were your origins with Pokemon? What was your first game? You know, how'd you get into TCG? Like, you know, just give us a whole thing here we can run with.
Sure. So, I mentioned to you guys pre-podcast that like I used to watch those CW cartoons early morning, back when I was a kid. Kind of like what I would like live for on the weekends. You know, what 1-2 days a weekend, or like I guess the whole weekend, I have those 2 days to kind of like wake up, watch those TV shows, and like, you know, like just enjoy that experience, which I think like a lot of people these days won't have. But I like genuinely just like enjoy that experience in the mornings, and so like I would watch like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, all those shows as a kid growing up, and I collected both Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon cards when I was younger. And my first game, I believe, was Crystal.
Ooh.
So I didn't start with Red and Blue. I was a Crystal kid.
Youth.
Yeah, so I started with Crystal, and then I remember around the same time as when the N64 came out, I believe.
Wait, what?
Like N64 was like 2000.
No.
Crystal was.
It was
No.
it was nine. It was 96, and
Oh, was it? Wow. Okay.
yeah, so it was like
Um,
98, 99, 2000 ish was red, blue, gold, silver, crystal.
Yeah. Well,
But it was
I
still
got
the N64 was still the console
Yeah.
of choice at the time.
I got my N64 on the same year I got Crystal, because my aunt, who I like owe a lot of like the nerd stuff I do, to her, the one that like lived near me in Florida when I went to college there. She would like, my parents were very strict and like didn't really understand the idea of games or whatever. Like their like very Indian logic was school is important, everything else kind of is like falls by the wayside. Nothing else matters besides education, which I mean they were raised that way, so they don't really know anything else. So I can't blame them. But she was like one of those people who was like, let's have like, you need to have fun, like be a kid kind of thing. So she would always like buy me stuff. And so that Christmas, she got me the Pikachu N64, which I still have. It works.
Oh, awesome.
It still works. The on and off button is a little bit sticky from like some drink, probably, that I could probably just clean up at some point.
It was
still
probably
works.
it was probably a Capri Sun in the 90s
Yeah,
or something.
or like a Fanta or something like that. Like,
I was gonna say Fanta, dude. Oh my god.
I used to drink a lot of Fanta when I was a kid. Then I like kind of fell off of Pokemon for a little bit just because of, growing up, there was a lot of like peer pressure, bullying, whatever, when you were younger, that
Right.
like it was never cool to play Pokemon. I know there's like a lot of the younger kids have now grown up, and like with the social media age, people are much more open about what they want to do and like play, etc., etc. So it's like it's very cool to see that. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just it wasn't like cool when I was a kid. So there was like a lot of times when it was just like, why am I playing Pokemon, or like why is there like a need to play Pokemon type of deal. So I kind of like fell off the wagon there. Didn't really play too much for a little bit. And then in middle school, I think 8th grade is around when Heart Gold Soul Silver came out.
Oh, the best.
Yeah, so at that point, like I was like nostalgia full on, like bought the game, like I bought every game, like I played every video game still, like I just didn't like openly like discuss it at school and stuff like that. I would start bringing my Pokewalker to school
Nice.
because I mean it's free steps. So, like,
Did you okay, I was gonna ask, did you put it on your pen in class and like wave it so you get the extra steps out of it? Okay, good.
Yeah, I did. I also like incessantly tap, so like that also counted. Like I do the thing with my foot where I just can't stop.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like one of my nervous tics, so I just like let that happen. And I remember I like dropped it or like something in like the gym locker room one day, and I was like so scared I'd get like made fun of. And then like I remember I made like a couple of friends off the back of that. And like there's one kid who was in like my math class, TJ. I don't know what happened to him. We like kind of like lost connection after middle school. But he like brought his like the big like old like GameStop guide thing, like the old books that used to exist.
Yes. You mean
Yes.
like the players guides that I still collect to this day?
The big, like the really big one that was like super intricate. He brings that in, and like the two of us just like start talking about it, and it was like, I don't know, like really cool to like have someone that enjoyed the game as much as me at that point. Yeah, and it was just like really nice, and we like kind of bonded over that, and then we like started looking up places to like play Pokemon or whatever, and there was a local league at a library near us. And I like the library is like 3.5-4 miles from me, so like I would bike there pretty frequently because I'm a gigantic bookworm. So like when I was younger, my parents would just like it's like kind of illegal, but also like not really. But they would just like leave me there instead of like getting a babysitter for me over the summer. And like the either volunteers or like librarians are like kind of knew me because I'd be there like pretty much every day of the summer. So they would like keep an eye on me. But I was the kind of kid who would like not move from the table I was at other than to go get another book. So I'd like have a packed sandwich and like I just sit there reading all day. I do like the summer reading rewards. I remember there was like a couple of volunteers that would like walk with me to like the McDonald's right next door to get like the free scoop, like the ice cream cone or whatever you get from the reward.
Oh, nice.
Like the soft serve. So, I like knew the library like the back of my hand, and like back then they used to do like 6 to 9 p.m. like after close on one of the nights, like RuneScape and like pizza nights, and you'd like pay $10 to get in, get 2 slices of pizza and like a can of soda, which I used to go to. But we like knew there was a room there that had like Pokemon cards and some kids there. So one of the days I like went in and asked, and I was like, what's going on here? And the league leader there was kind enough to explain it to me, and it was like really cool. So we started going there, and like we made up our own rules, obviously, and then people were kind enough to like teach us the game. And when you played at League back then, you'd get like a little scorecard. And based on how many games you played on your scorecard, they give you a couple of free promo cards and stuff for just showing up, and like badges you could like sew onto your clothes and things like that. So it was like really cool to go there. And some of the names like Joe Brown will know, like Michael Pramawat, Jimmy Pendarvis, Jimmy McClure, like some of these players all were at that library when I was there. Like this was like we all like origin storied this like like these are some of the greatest players to play the game. Like Michael Pramawat has the most regional championship wins in the history of the game. Like these are players that are like not to be taken lightly by any means. That all like started in this like this dinky little library. So eventually I ended up going to a city championships. Fun fact, I got a round 1 loss because my deck was not legal for the event.
Oh.
Just because I didn't like know there was like a legality thing. Yeah, I straight up just didn't know that was a thing. I was like, oh, you have to have like legal cards for tournaments. Like how interesting.
So was this what was this, the Gen 4 era, right? Like
this was like the end of the Diamond and Pearl block, yeah.
So they had like the level cards and like
yeah. And we were just picking up like we were just starting on our Gold Soul Silver block. Like they had just come out like
okay.
So it was very, very new to me, and I was just like playing with whatever cards I had at the time. And then that's also where I met Wolfie, who I went to middle school with and stuff. So we've been friends also forever.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was very random to see him. I was like, wait, what? And he was like, you play Pokemon? I was like, yeah. So Wolf. Then so I didn't do very well, and then I played a couple states because that. So also throughout high school is like probably a important thing to note. I was a track athlete, so my winter time would always be like super eaten up by track and field, basically, because like we had like 3 meets a week effectively, and weekends were gone, so didn't have a chance to compete in Pokemon at the time. But like spring rolls around March, and we ended up going to a person, like a family that was there, like was like, hey, we're going to States this weekend. Do you want to come with? And I was like, what is that? And they were like, well, it's just like a state tournament. Like, I don't know what you mean. Like, what do you mean? What is that? And I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, I've literally never heard of this before. And it was like 40 minutes away. It was in this like middle of nowhere city in Virginia.
Was it the barn? Was it at the barn or no?
No. That's Doswell.
This is pre-barn era.
Yeah, this is pre-barn. It was like the middle of like. It was literally like
Joe Perrin. You don't know what you missed out on the barn, man. It was right by VCU, actually, Joe.
Yeah, he probably knows where it is. You know where the Six Flags is?
The Six Flags is in Virginia?
Yeah, well, not Six Flags. Kings Dominion. Sorry.
Yes, I know where the King's Dominion is.
Like right next to that. It was like in a barn by there. That was where we had regionals.
Like we're not making it up. We're not. It was literally a barn.
It's a barn.
This big event was this big Pokemon, and it was years in a row.
And it was like winter too, so it's like in a dead where like there's nobody at the Kings Dominion or anything. So it's just like there's like one open Denny's, and that's like the entire.
The Denny's! I was gonna bring up the Denny's, dude. That was literally the only food that was available because places there was nothing within like the mile distance, like a pizza place or something that would come out to the spot from the hotel. Oh my god, the barn was an experience.
Oh my god, sounds.
Yeah, it's that was an experience for sure. But yeah, it was just like this middle of nowhere. Yeah, it didn't do well at either of those. And then I went to regionals, didn't do great at that. That was the only event, fun fact, my dad ever took me to until I guess this past World Championships that happened. That was near VCU, and it was like at this like really nice building. But
when was this?
Like 2011.
Continue.
Yeah. So and then time passed. You know, I gradually had to go back to doing track and field. School kind of took precedence, and then I went to league again randomly, just like summer break had started effectively, and I went, and Jimmy Pendarvis, bless his soul, was there, and he was like, "We're going to nationals this week. You want to come?" And I was like, "What the fuck is nationals? Like, how are we in another situation where I don't know what's going on?"
You went from states to nationals,
yeah, and so he was like, "Oh yeah, we're like road tripping from here," and I was like, "There's no way my dad lets me go. my dad comes to pick me up because I would bike there, and then like we'd go like do like there's a rec center right there, so we'd go get like Chipotle and play basketball and stuff. Like it was a whole ordeal. It was like an evening. We made an evening out of it every time. So the group there at that point, like we then it was what was it? We like so he came to pick me up and he went to go talk to the guy's dad who was taking us. About an hour later, while we were eating Chipotle, my dad's like, "Yeah, you can go." And I was like, "You're sending me a like 15-year-old across the country to Indianapolis in a car with people you don't know?" And he was like, "Yeah."
Love it.
So I ended up going to
Why?
nationals.
I want to know why.
Yeah, why did
That's
your
the stuff.
dad say yes?
Why did
I
your
don't
dad
know.
say yes? Your dad went from like this super strict person that said you can't have fun, don't play video games, you need to focus on school, and then he just like talks to this one dude, and this one dude's like, "Hey, listen, I'm going to take your kid to Indianapolis, and they're going to play Pokemon." And he's like, "You know what?
Yeah. Now that
Perfect.
I'm older, I've talked to my like parents about this, and apparently my dad has always been the guy who's been like, my son deserves to like have all these opportunities I never got to have, and my mom has always been the person that's like, I don't understand. And you know, there's always a very with a dynamic like that, dad doesn't really get to say much. So it was now that I'm older, we've like talked about that like pretty openly, and it's been like very interesting to hear. So at the end of that, like I ended up going, and again, this dude that took us just like did not supervise us. Like my man was like, "I'm gonna go read a book. It's my vacation at the hotel room," kind of deal. So now you got like 3 like 14, 15-year-old kids just like running around Indianapolis like hundreds of dollars in our wallet because at that point we didn't have credit cards or anything.
Right.
Man, what an experience. What an experience. And like I remember I walked into the venue, and Joe Brown can tell you, like when you walk into the Pokemon venue, no matter like when like a Worlds or a national level event, and you see like the big Pikachu in the atmosphere, it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just like electric to a degree where you know you've like found your people or like found your place, and it's just like really comforting.
That's a great point.
The way me and my friends describe our like group of friends that we have that I met in graduate school is it's like what you can say is like you found your tribe, you found the people you belong with. This is like they just get you. Like it doesn't matter what you say it, and they're like, yeah, right.
Yeah, like literally, like it's like no matter where you go, all these people are there for one common purpose, and like it's just it's such a cool feeling when back then the internet and social media wasn't such a big presence, so it wasn't like I could go log on to like Twitter or whatever and like find my people. It was like just so like refreshing to find this like group of people, and I remember making a lot of friends and like playing a lot of games and Pokemon. I remember like I never like back in the day there was something called the open play room, like open play gaming, where you could just go, and this is like a room that Pokemon would rent out, and it would just be open 24/7 where you could just go play games and like do whatever. Like people would set up like booths to sell shit, which was like not technically allowed, but like eventually like security would come to get rid of them. But it was just like a room where people could go do Pokemon stuff like 24/7 during the duration of the event. And I remember I spent so much time there just like watching people play games, like playing my own games. Just I was that kid that was going around being like, "Hey, do you want to play a game? Like, do you want to play a game of Pokemon?" Like I was that kid just like walking around constantly, like asking whoever, just because I was so enchanted by the experience. Even like the 3 a.m. runs to like Steak and Shake because
That's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask when you were in Indy, did you go to Steak and Shake?
Yeah, as like a 15-year-old who's got money and like half off milkshakes at 3 a.m. Of course we're going there. Like it was like one of those weekends where you know you're so excited that you can't like sleep, you can't do anything. It's just the experience just consumed you so much that I like wish I could relive that as a kid. And from that moment on, I like absolutely fell in love with the game. And from then, I like the rest is kind of history. Where like I played throughout college pretty frequently. During the modern era of cash, I performed pretty well, I'd like to say, for myself. And the past 2 years, I finished both 13th and 30th at the World Championships, respectively. And I was on track to finish like top, like basically like 9th or 10th in North America before the pandemic hit.
Yeah,
Once again,
I was gonna say you're selling yourself short here with your. You did pretty well. Like no, you're pretty,
my
damn good
first
at
year,
it.
my first year was probably like kind of a really cool year because I like out of the 7 regionals I played, I finished in the top 16 or better of 6 of them, which was like crazy to
Oh,
me.
wow.
Because I was in college, and at this point, the deal in college was also that like if I wanted to do a hobby like this, I had to pay for it myself. Like, this is like my parents were like, this is on you. Like, we are not going to go out of our way to support this. And again, very strict. But they just didn't understand, I guess. And then I kind of was able to pay for all of it, like by just like dumpstering people at regionals. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of shocking, honestly.
What does that mean? Dumpstering.
Like, this is the right way. Like, so this is right when they introduced money into the game, like a real semblance of money, not like a grand for like doing decently or whatever. It was like a real semblance of money. So getting top 64 at regionals was like $250 in your pocket, which is effectively like a flight that you paid to get out there. So the first one was in Orlando, luckily for myself, and I finished 5th, which meant that I get to walk out with very comfortable 750.
Nice.
And that was like just kind of nuts, because that kind of, and living in Orlando also means that well, Disney is right there, so all flights were super omega cheap if you didn't care about taking Spirit or Frontier, which I didn't, because why do I care? It's my life, I'll risk it. So I was taking like $60 round trips to like Philly and like, I don't know, like the middle of nowhere, St. Louis or wherever that regionals is.
That's Collinsville. Show some respect.
Yeah, Collinsville. Yeah. So I'd be like taking these cheap flights, and that 750 effectively carried me for quite a while. And then my only regret that year is that I didn't believe in the circuit enough to like take any of the free trips that I had to like the foreign countries. Like I had a free trip to Australia and I had a free trip to Brazil, but I like did not believe that they would actually pay me, so I didn't go. Because it was the first year they implemented the system, so I just didn't go.
Yeah.
And like I was still like young, so I was like a little bit of, because back then there wasn't enough of a group going. It was like even in the top 16 players that got the free trip, it was like maybe like 7 or 8 of them were going, because again, people didn't really trust this system or like trust what was going on, because it was the first year that I was doing it. So it wasn't like I could just go and have like a place to stay or like find roommates or whatever. It was like, do the people I know in the community, are they going? No, then I'm not going.
Yeah.
Especially to a country like Brazil or Australia, which is just like so far away.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The next 3 years, however, I did that. Every single opportunity
you were on the road. You were living on the road. Like
I was doing like 20 to 21 credits while doing that, which I think, like, looking back on it, I definitely severely impacted my health in one way or another by downing as much energy drinks as I did.
Louise.
Yeah. Now that I like look back on it, I'm like, man, I like really was not like cognizant of my health during this.
Yeah, doing the best thing you should have.
Yeah, like
I guess my question for you now is, since you've been saying all this, you're obviously out of school, right?
Mm-hmm. Graduated May 2019.
Nice. Well, I guess not really nice. You graduated and then everything hit.
Yeah, I've been my disposable income has been stacking up, which is nice, but
yeah,
I to use it.
I was gonna ask, what do you do like professionally besides Pokemon?
Yeah. So I was lucky enough. So when I graduated, for lack of better terms, I told Joe Brown this pre-podcast that I switched majors 3 times in college. I started off pre-med, or like biotech, I guess, and that didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. I kind of looked down the road that I'd have to take, and it was far too long, with so much of my life being sacrificed on the way there. So I kind of didn't do it. And then the backup plan was comp sci, and that also didn't pan out because I was like very inexperienced in like what I needed to do. I had like some technical experience, but like not enough to where like I don't know, like the kind of like place they thrust me into was like just way too demanding. So I switched and got a double degree in finance and econ, and the idea is that I eventually want to go into data analytics when I get the opportunity. But right after I graduated, I asked my mom for like, or parents, I guess, because I'm living at home rent free. I was like, yo, give me some time to like focus on the world championships and stuff like that before I have to like go get a job. And they said sure. So as soon as August panned around, I did the whole job hunt. Really big pain in the ass. And once that kind of subsided, I found myself working as a contractor for Customs and Immigration as a basically like a QA tester.
Oh, okay.
Job's good, a lot of fun, very demanding. Just because of the specific team I'm on is very like front facing UI. So we are constantly working on the website and constantly working on stuff. So these past couple weeks have been really busy. I won't lie. It's been a lot of work for very little reward.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But
Makes.
yeah, Pokemon and stuff is like, and content and stuff has always been like a passion of mine, obviously. But I do know that until Pokemon pulls off the reins a little bit, or kind of gives some autonomy to the content creators, that it's probably very difficult to make a living unless you live in like the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, so you've obviously like Top Cut a lot of events, and you've flown all around the world and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You Top Cut Worlds, you Top Cut a bunch of regionals. So is the like main driving force winning Worlds at this point for you, or like, because we've had 2 years now of online events that you've been playing in and doing well in and stuff, like could you be satisfied if you win 10 regionals but not Worlds? Like what's your mentality for like playing?
I think that's toughy because like obviously like every player wants to win Worlds, but only so many can. Which makes it even more impressive that players like Jason and Ray Rizzo have won like 3. Like that's crazy.
Right.
In like the 15 or 16 Worlds we've had, they've won 3 of them. That's nuts. I mean, I would love to win 8 regionals to start, honestly, because it kind of sucks being having the I guess like title or banner stuck to you that you're the guy who like we can always expect to see in Top Cut, but no one has faith that I'll win. Because that storyline gets really old really fast.
Right.
Especially being the guy who, doesn't win. So I like my focus throughout the pandemic, obviously, like I've had like a lot of time to reflect with no actual events going on, a lot of time to like think about how I want to approach the game. And I think when I come back, I don't know, like after the top 16 grind or like the day 2 grind that I've kind of done, I don't know how much more my body can take. I'm getting older. Being on flights, like 30 out of 42 weekends is absolutely ridiculous. Or 30 out of 52 weekends of the year is absolutely ridiculous. Like,
Tell me, what are you doing? No offense, like live that bliss, but like, God.
Yeah, I mean, in the moment, it's a lot of fun, and like it's like stressful, and like it is what it is. But when you like,
Flying
take a
is
step
the
back,
worst.
flying, driving, whatever, you're traveling. You're not at home. You're not in your comfortable bed. Like you're not comfortably, like you don't have that like when I get a lazy weekend, man, I am telling you, I savor the hell out of it. Like I will get up early just so I can sit there and watch like TV shows all day, or like just literally lay in bed, order in food, and like I will take that full opportunity. But now that I've had like a year and a half of that effectively,
It's nice, right? It's nice.
It's nice, yeah. Like I'll maybe do the grind maybe 1, maybe 2 more times tops. If that, and if I do it, I'd probably do it like in a way that most players would probably frown upon, the special event grind, which honestly I'd like to work smarter, not harder. And at that point, why not make a weekend vacation to like a tropical country?
Yeah.
Like if I'm already spending money, I don't want to go to Collinsville. I'd rather go to like Guatemala.
The Puerto
like, I'll be
Rico
back.
special event. Yeah.
That's literally what I did. I went to Puerto Rico instead of Collinsville.
I know you did. I knew you went to Puerto Rico. There was like 8 people from New York, New Jersey that also flew to Puerto Rico for that special event. And I was
Yeah,
like,
I mean, the flight was comparable. I was just like, why would I ever fucking go to Collinsville in the middle of February? That sucks.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Hey man, that Collinsville is where I made my official debut on the official stream as a caster. So that'll always
in my
be
defense, also though, like if I did go to Collinsville, Justin won the event with the same 60 I would have played. So, so it's like I was in a good position no matter what. But like going to these smaller regions is like often considered like I'm going there to bully them effectively. But none of the players that I've ever like been there and talked to like feel that way. They feel like, I don't know, like kind of honored to like play against us. It's weird. I know it's weird, right? Like,
yeah,
you don't know
Not
how to think of
weird.
it that way.
So here, I'll
like,
explain it for Joe. So how the live events or the regional circuits work is like you get championship points for how well you finish at each regional. So let's say you go to Philly regionals and you get 4th, and that gives you 100 CP or something, right? at the end of each season or each like mark, which are set up by the international championships of Europe, Oceania, Latin America, and North America, there's like a snapshot of the people who made the most championship points in that section. So what Raul would do, and what a lot of people do, they do it in VGC too, is they go to a lot of events that, like how Raul explained, pay for themselves the more you accomplish in them and the higher you do. And you would have that top 8 CP you would need, or whatever it is, to then give you the flight to Berlin, or give you the flight to Orlando, or to Brazil, or to Worlds, or whatever.
Yeah.
Trying to explain it for Joe so he understands.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I was saying I feel like it's not weird for them to have the reaction that he was describing. I understood this whole thing that you're talking about. I'm saying, like, it's like when you want to, when you live in, like, the middle of nowhere and you really want to go see, like, a band perform in your town that isn't, like, 5 hours away from you.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that happening. Like, you go there, you're a big name in the industry, and you're like, I'm here to play, and everybody's like, oh, I don't even care if I win. If I get to play against this guy, this is like, this is great.
Like,
I can say I did
the locals have always been like super, like, because like for some of them, obviously like Worlds is not the main goal. Like they are not, like, some of these regions are not as, you know, fortunate as like the Americas, Europe, whatever, like that have the same opportunities that we do. So they're not like looking towards Worlds like I am. Like the end goal is not like the World Championships is like, or bust for me. They're sitting here going like, I want to improve. I'm just here to have fun. You know, like this is like their way of like enjoying. And like for some of them, like they obviously like watch the content. They like know what's going on, and so it's like really cool for them to like wherever I go, it's like weird to me because like it's like these people take pictures and stuff with me. I don't consider myself like a celebrity at all. It's just like I'm just a guy who plays Pokemon.
But you're
so,
so
really, like,
damn handsome. So
thanks,
you
Joe.
everyone needs to take a photo with you.
It's just like it's like it seems like if Azul went, like people would like swarm Azul and like some of these other players. Like it's just like I don't know. It's like it's a different perspective, and then you come back and like social media reception is so negative because they're like, you went there to get easy points, and I'm like, easy or not, I still had to I still had to win the same amount of games, even if the field was easier. Like, even if the field is easier, once you get to the top, the same players are going to be at the top, which is what people fail to understand. Like, once you get to the top of the board, even if like only 8 or 9 good players went from here to, you know, Puerto Rico or something, the board is going to come down to these 8 people regardless, and you have to beat them to win the event. So it's like playing a big event regardless. It's just
it's like it's like getting to the top of the CP boards is like just the start, not the finish. You know what I mean?
It's like playing in like the NFC East. Like you're making the playoffs, but it's like people are discounting you because you came from the NFC East.
Yeah, but I'm saying like even like, you know, you get 1,000 points and you know it's 1,000 CP or whatever, but like you can't stop because 15 other people also have 1,000 CP. You know what I mean? Like at least in VGC, that's how it was. So
it's an absolute rat race.
We might be getting a little
rat race,
a little too into the weeds.
No,
for
we can bring it up.
This conversation, but so Joe, do you have any other, you know, Pokemon related questions for Raul?
Not really.
Okay, well, I know you had another question.
We kind of went off the rails, but I do want to go back to what he was saying when you were talking about how when Pokemon, what is it? When Pokemon Soul Silver and Heart Gold came out, it was like it was not good or not popular for you to play Pokemon or whatever.
Yeah. That was like the Twilight era too, where like if you liked Twilight or like Pokemon, it was just like you were ostracized.
Yeah.
Well, here is the craziest thing. That was my senior year of high school when that came out.
Oh, wow, okay.
Literally the start of my senior year of high school when that game came out. And everybody at my like level of like at senior year had those walkers. We would all have them, and we were like shaking our legs in class, like trying to cheat the systems. Like, I need to get this, I need to do this. Like, we'd be playing Pokemon at lunch. Like, it was like everybody was doing it. Like, it was weird because in high school, you're right. In middle school, it was like, oh, I'm too cool to play Pokemon. I'm getting it. I'm getting older. And then you got the high school, and everybody's like, yeah, I play Pokemon. What about it? And so you're just like, oh, I also.
And then you
play
get to
Pokemon,
college
but-
and nobody cares. It's like, oh,
Oh,
Dude,
like,
college
yeah.
was the best with
No one
Pokemon.
cares.
All my friends, we all played it. Like, I remember when X and Y came out. We had all my communication major friends and just friends that like lived together. We all that Saturday. There was like 8 of us in the in a room, and we just all played X and Y together the whole weekend. And like to this day, it's one of my favorite Pokemon memories, and like why I hold X and Y so like close to me, because it was such a great experience with my friends.
Yeah, and like, I don't know if Joe Brown has ever discussed our friendship at all, but I met Joe Brown my senior year of college, and we had met before my senior year of college, but we became better friends my senior year of college because Joe Brown became an RA in my building, and I was also one of the people who was like an RA but not really like an RA. I was more of I was an academic assistant that lived in the building.
You were an academic peer mentor. Get it right, Joe?
Sorry, I was an academic peer mentor. I would mentor the kids to make sure that they smoothed into college and didn't fail any of their classes.
where were you when I needed you?
Didn't come to UNH.
To New Haven, yeah.
Yeah. But so what was it? Where was I getting with?
That's how we met.
That's how we met, because Joe Brown was going to be a new RA, and I had made the bold statement that there can only be one Joe in this building, and I will be that one Joe. And then he came in, and we had a sleepover.
Yeah.
And I helped him beat BioShock Infinite.
Yeah.
And then we proceeded to watch anime, I think, the rest of the night, and then we became best friends.
Yes.
What a good story, honestly.
He accepted me. Well, so I was living in an apartment off campus, which was not through no fault of my own, and it's going to take too much time to explain. I should have been an RA. I should have been an RA already, but it's not. It's not worth explaining right now.
Joe Brown's entire life cycle has a series. It goes in a series of events where he tries to do something. He's overqualified the position, and he should get it. Doesn't get it. Then someone else gets it. They mess up. They realize that Joe Brown was the right person for the job. They give it to Joe Brown, but still at the same time of giving it to him, mess up his like whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's not worth for him to have it anymore.
We'll tell you off air. Anyway, we don't want to go too deep into it. So I was in the campus, or I was in the off campus apartment, and there was a huge snowstorm in Connecticut. And I was about to next semester become the new RA in that building, and I didn't want, for other reasons, for stupid reasons, I didn't want to stay trapped in that apartment.
No, they were good reasons. They were pretty good reasons.
So I was like, well, Joe seems kind of cool. He's got glasses. He's a nerd. You know, we both have the same name. We're going to work together. Like, maybe I could be friends with him. So I was like, hey, you want to have a sleepover in your room? Like, we barely knew each other at this point.
We had literally met like the week before.
It's college. Everyone just wants to be homies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We knew we were safe. We were in college or whatever. We were going to be coworkers. And then that day changed the course of history. And then,
Forever.
you know.
Forever. It changes the course of history forever. 'Cause I remember something else happening that was like absurd that same weekend.
I don't know. We did too many things
Oh
there. It's too much to go into it.
This is what I was gonna say.
You're embarrassing me in front of my friend.
I'm not gonna embarrass you. No, this isn't embarrassing. So that same night we beat BioShock Infinite because Joe Brown told me he was really into the game and he hadn't beaten it yet and he couldn't figure out how to do it. And I was like, bro, I got you. I've beaten it like 7 times already.
It was very hard.
So I helped him. I helped him beat it. And then we just like kind of talked. We watched a movie and like just talked about stuff, which it's like we were going on a date. And me and Joe Brown talked until like 2 a.m. and literally found out that we were the same motherfucking person.
Oh my god!
Like me and Joe Brown have the most similar things.
Our backgrounds.
It is in like Joe Brown has a twin sister. Are you aware of this, Rahul? That Joe Brown has a twin sister?
I don't.
Joe Brown has a twin sister. I have a twin sister.
We're both
Joe
from New
Brown-
Jersey.
We both grew up in New Jersey. This is more, I guess, more of a sensitive topic. Joe Brown's father passed away when he was young. My father passed away when we were young. So it was just getting weird. Like everything was just getting too weird of like how similar we were.
And we
So
both
then
love video games.
We both love video games, aside from like him being more into Pokemon and me being more into like BioShock and
scary
like,
games. What was that scary game you tried to make me play? I would punch
Outlast. I tried to make it play Outlast because it just came out that year.
I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, he wanted to kill me after doing that. But like it was just so crazy how similar we were, and how we kept saying, it's like, how have we not met before? Like ever? Like how is this the first time we're meeting each other?
It's kind of pog.
Now,
Excuse me.
just let it go, Joe. He's the youth. Remember, he's a youngling.
I'm a young one.
He's on TikTok. He had 1 million views on TikTok. Okay,
He had okay. I found his TikTok, and I'm still trying to find the one that has 1 million views.
It's like very, it's very randomly in there. It's not even like a good TikTok. It's like so stupid.
You do have like some that have, what is it? You have some that you had one that was like 300K, and I was like, that's impressive.
The random, so it's the ones that I put the least effort into that blow up.
Isn't that always how it works?
Yeah, it was.
Right?
It's the one where it's just like, hey, look, I opened packs of cards, and people are like, wow.
Well, people do love that.
Yeah,
it's a big market for that. Okay, I'm trying to think of other, as we wrap this up, other like related Pokemon related questions, things we can ask Rahul here. Like, I don't know if you have a question for us or anything. It's open dialogue here that we have on the show.
I never question anything. I probably should question more things in life.
Yeah, you should probably do that.
Okay, so Pokemon Generation 9, right? That's going to happen, we all assume, with the 3-year cycle, probably next year, a year and a half, something like that.
I mean, Arceus could like give us some of those stuff.
True, but where do you think / where do you want the next Pokemon region to be? Because we had England and Hawaii and France and stuff. Like, where's the next Pokemon region if you were in charge?
Oh, forget Rahul. I'll answer this question.
You can both answer.
I wanted to be in Australia. That'd be dope.
That'd be fun.
It'd
be like very like flat. It'd be like very linear, I guess, the game.
What about you, Rahul? Well, if you were in charge, if Masuda was like, Rahul, buddy, we need you to save Pokemon, where should the next region be?
All right, countries around.
Well, hold on. Rahul.
You have to Google a map or something, like of the Earth.
Yeah, I'm literally looking at a map. Yep.
He's doing. Rahul, you have a Master Ball.
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But are those still available?
No, they only made 500 or 5,000.
No, because I have the Pokeball.
Yeah, I saw the I saw like a tweet or something, like just like the perfect time. It was one of those where like if I didn't see that tweet, I wouldn't have gotten it.
Oh my god, I was hoping they made a Great Ball now too, and I want to get the Master Ball if they ever make it again, but they probably won't.
I don't know. Africa could be fun, like just like the entire like some parts of Africa where it's like hilly and more of like a, I don't know, like not as maybe like mountainous, but more like plains, or like a safari style game. Because like Sword and Shield felt like there was a lot of climbing and stuff, and then Black and White was like New York.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know.
I can respect it. I respect it.
Or just like let's just go to space. Honestly, that'd be kind of funny.
Well, I mean, we have been to space at this point, not as a region, but we flew on Rayquaza's back, right, and stuff.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
Ultra Space and Gen 7.
Your Ultra Space.
Thank you. What has been your favorite TCG card and/or deck that you've used competitively?
Now people are going to think it's Vespiquen, but that's just because I'm good with the deck. I actually really liked, like probably across all the decks I played, Welder Mewtwo, which is like more of a recent deck. I'll be honest. So it's like not, I guess like might be just like more so like recency bias. But I just like really liked like how that deck played, where you had so many options. and like the deck just felt so absurdly good. And I mean, it was like one of the coolest decks I think to win Worlds in a very long time, because for everyone watching, as well as other Joe, like Worlds typically has been like the follow up, like it has bled into the Nationals format, so people get a chance to like take what they've learned and come in. But in recent years for TCG, they have literally made us like rotate the format. Like we literally get a new set and the format rotates. So all the people playing in Worlds have no idea what to expect. We're over here like brewing our own stuff, and they literally just tell us to throw away our old playbook. And you're like, what the hell? For the spectators, very entertaining to watch, obviously. But as someone who played in Worlds 2 years in a row that happened, it's very stressful.
I can only imagine.
You just don't know where anyone else
It's like
is
a
at.
whole
You're
new
like,
game you have to learn.
yeah, you're like, my head is here, but what if like people are still like on step one of this, or like, you know, like you have to anticipate where people are, which is crazy. But that was like one of the coolest decks where I think like a lot of effort and time went into it. And Henry Brand, well deserving, won that World Championships. And I mean, I played that deck for like 4 or 5 months straight after. So it was just my favorite deck in terms of like the raw power and like what it did in terms of the game.
Can't believe it wouldn't just say ADP, you know?
Hell no, I hated that deck.
Yeah, Joe Brony hated it.
Yeah, I know, Joe. You always tell me how much you hate ADP. So, all right, this is gonna sound. All right. If you were a Pokemon, what?
No. I got a question.
Okay.
I got a question.
Okay.
Do you think I could beat you in Pokemon?
Yeah, probably. I'm washed. I'm
I
washed.
think I could beat you in Pokemon.
Nah,
Take my Bulbasaur.
Joe is always so confident.
If it's VGC, you gotta be any day of the week. I have no idea. I just pick all the moves that do damage.
No, Joe doesn't know VGC either.
I do this. I don't know what that fucking means. I do the same thing. So whatever.
Okay.
If it does damage, it's
I'll
probably gonna work.
That one. I don't want to play with that one.
Literally, that's me.
So, if you were a Pokemon, what typing would you be, and what would your ability be?
Oh,
It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
that is a tough one.
And would you be a male or a female?
Oh, that's a great question.
Be honest.
Be honest.
I can't believe you're a male. But I think I'd probably be like a lightning type, or electric type, I guess.
That's
just 'cause,
electric
like,
for you, Joe. Lightning is what it's called in TCG.
you know, yeah, I call it yellow at this point.
Thanks, Joe Brown.
I just think like based on personality, I'm just like a very bubbly, like electric person, I guess. So it just like works out. I don't know. My ability would probably be something like I gotta think of abilities.
What about like technician or something? Because you're a technical.
What does that even do?
Technician. That's Scissor's ability, where attacks below 60 base power have increased damage. Like so, you use like bullet punch is super strong on Scissor because it's only 40 base power, but it's like doubled because it's technician.
Oh.
You could have lightning rod.
That was what I was thinking of. Honestly, I'll be honest. That's like the first one that came to mind. But I was like, I don't really want to get hit by stuff. That seems unfortunate.
Well, you are a Pokemon. It's kind of your job. You kind of get hit by stuff.
Yeah, fine. I'll take lightning rod. That seems fine.
Okay, that's fine.
What's-
Volt
is it-
absorb. It's that or Volt Absorb, I think.
What's the? It starts with an R. I can't remember the move that like you do it, but it also hurts yourself. What is that one called?
Like what do you like a recoil move? Like a
Yeah, I want to say it's Roundhouse, but it's not Roundhouse.
No, I don't. Double edge. That's a move that
What-
has recoil.
Sure, whatever move that has a recoil, I feel like that's what you would have because you're like trying to get there, you're trying to do it, and you're doing it, but you're also like screwing yourself over.
And I hear some stupid shit. Yeah, I'm there with you.
There's wild
"Oh,
charge.
yeah."
That's an electric move that has recoil. Wild charge.
Oh,
So
wild charge.
we're
That's what I like,
turning
Zebra.
Raul into a Pokemon really quickly here. We got some synergy going on. I like it.
Yeah, you guys can literally like just tell people to add me into the game. Like honestly, at this point, you could probably
Yep.
make some money off this.
Pikachu's always listening.
In Africa and/or Australia, depending on where you two,
Who's making the game?
whoever's in
Is it
charge.
me?
Yeah, literally.
Oh, yeah.
Hero.
Which not worlds, and not like international, but like when we had the regional circuit every year, what was the place, the one regional you were like, all right, I gotta go to this one every time?
Oh, that's a super easy one. SoCal.
Ooh,
Every time.
okay.
Like no questions asked. Like I don't know why. Like I think it's like because I went from here to Florida, and Florida was right at college, and Florida was like nice and all, but it's like really humid and like kind of gross like a lot of the time.
We
But
go to
SoCal,
Denver.
Yeah, basically. And like SoCal felt like just very nice weather every time because they'd always be a winter one. And winter in like SoCal was always a really nice time. The area was either like Anaheim or San Diego or like those kinds of places where like there was stuff nearby to do. I don't know. It just felt like more fun, I guess, just because more of the East Coast guys that would go in the early days would kind of stick together before like the circuit got super long. And so it built like camaraderie. The food's like absolutely bonkers. Like it's so good. So SoCal was one like I would always like try to make no matter what. And then my probably one right behind that is back when I was in college, it would be Virginia, just so I could see my parents. But that's like a altruistic reason. And now that I'm not in college and have lived with them for a year and a half, I would like to leave.
Getting out, running away.
All those years in the barn, all those years in Roanoke too. After the barn, and we never ran into each other.
Roanoke wasn't bad. It just
dude,
was,
I love Roanoke.
I hate Roanoke.
It was just a
Plays in the
pain
middle
to
of
get to. It was a pain to get to. Like
it was.
My hotel was like by like Radford because it was like $40 like cheaper a night, and it'll be like a 30-minute drive.
I had to drive through West Virginia every time to get to Roanoke, and every time we got into West Virginia,
that's so weird.
We would play John Denver. You know, West Virginia.
Wow.
Every time we did it three years in a row. We always had to
know
play
something, Joe Brown?
John Denver.
No one else has ever done that.
I know. I'm unique. I'm unique. What can I say, Joe?
Just like everyone else, bro.
All right. And one last question for you, Raul. Where can our listeners find you out there on the internet?
So first of all, thank you for having me. YouTube, TikTok. YouTube is just my name, Rahul Reddy. TikTok and Twitch are the Fleet. That's like probably the easiest place to find me. Constantly being live, doing stuff. And then Twitter is the Flea as well. I'm just kind of on everything. Not by choice. It's just kind of how social media works these days. If you're not there, you're losing. So,
I didn't choose this game. It chose me.
Yeah, basically, like I chose this very niche community of Pokemon TCG.
Listen, I don't want to be here, but I have to be.
Yeah, Pikachu has just made me good.
All right. Well, Raul, thank you very much.
Wait, hold on.
Oh,
hold on. I got one more question for Raul.
Hit me with it.
All right. Would you rather fight a dragon or a hippopotamus?
Dragon because there's more lore, and you could like there's so many like tales of how to slay dragons, and even if they're not accurate, they're probably close. So there's like actually like more like research I could do, but hippo just like runs you down, you're just done, so dude. Like there's no research on how to kill a hippo.
Here is the other thing that everybody doesn't think about, because I also picked dragon, but everybody forgets the part that a dragon hoards thing, and it has a treasure. So if you kill the dragon,
I forgot about that.
You get its treasure. If you kill a hippo, you get its shit. So you get to decide which one's better.
Yeah, if you get a hippo, you just like get the satisfaction of not being killed by a hippo.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
like, do you want to be known as the guy who killed a dragon or the guy who didn't die to a hippo?
There you go.
That's a great point.
You're doing that every day.
Yeah, like by being alive today, I have not died to a hippo.
Died to your hippo.
Days without hippo accident. 1.
There you go. And with that, we're going to close out this episode of Cup of Joes. I've been Joe Parian with my best friend Joe Brown and our new friend Raul, who is the Flea on most social media, I believe, right?
Yeah,
the Flea with 4 E's?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Go find him on the internets, and we'll catch you next time on another episode of Cup of Joes.